Service. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing well.
We already know that we, Ghana, are a big part of the UN peacekeeping effort. We've been part of it for years now. But just for the people out there who have not been aware of what you've been doing so far, what actually is peacekeeping?
Peacekeeping, it's something that is undertaken to help countries or parties to a conflict. Normally, in the past, when it started, it was between countries. So the peacekeepers go and then serve as a buffer between the warring parties.
Yes.
But now we have people fighting within countries. And so the peacekeeper is sent there to help create a situation where more political solutions could be found to bring about peace in the country that is affected. Or when situations happen that is going to affect the whole region, the peacekeepers go in to help to normalize the situation so that the politicians or the political efforts can come in through peace building arrangements.
Okay. Yes. Anything to add to that?
Just to add to that, the traditional concept of peacekeeping has moved away from that maintaining peace and security to protecting human lives, ensuring disarmament, demobilization and reintegration, protection and promotion of human rights, and restoring rule of law. But it also needs to be emphasized that peacekeeping is primarily guided by three basic principles. We are talking of the consent of the feuding parties. We are talking of impartiality on the part of the peacekeepers, and non-use of force except in self-defense and defense of the mandate.
Okay. Now those 3 points are very important. But why should countries get involved in contributing to the UN peacekeeping effort?
You realize that we don't have a standing armed forces for the whole world.
Right.
And so individual countries participate in peacekeeping so as to bring peace to troubled areas. And so you have countries contributing troops and invariably sharing the cost of.
Another one is a partner for peace, for change, and for the future.
Okay, yeah, we've got that here.
Yeah. You agree with me that without peace, there can't be development. And if I should re-echo even what has been stated in the Good Bible, when you look at Matthew 5, verse 9, it says that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. So peacekeepers should be seen as the children of God, trying to maintain peace, bring in order, stabilize the system, and let development follow.
Okay. So now we've said a partner for peace, a partner for change, and for the future. We currently have a lot of issues within our own shores at the moment here in Ghana, and a lot of challenges which are facing the security forces, such as yourselves. Now, when it comes to challenges facing the UN peacekeeping effort, what are they? Can you name a few of them?
Yeah, the challenges facing the UN peacekeeping effort today comes from several angles. But one is, when peacekeeping started, it just involved sending unarmed personnel or lightly armed personnel to buffer areas in between feuding parties and just observing and reporting. But now we've moved from this traditional peacekeeping, and then we've gone into a situation where we have a multi-dimensional peacekeeping, much of which borders on protection of civilians. And so you go into a country where they have given you consent to come to operate. Then you get to the place, the parties now split up, the warring factions. So somebody who was part of an umbrella group that gave you consent, the next time he's against the group
that gave the consent.
And how are you going to treat such a party? Now you, the peacekeeper, you are now in a fix. because initially he had given you consent, so you are allowed to operate into their areas of responsibility to protect civilians.
Yeah.
And then now he is against the very same group. He denies you access to the very people you are there to protect. And for me, it's a very big challenge to be able to help the people for which reason you were deployed into the theater.
True.
Yeah.
Anything?
And just to add to that, it could be looked at from two different dimensions: the peacekeeping operation itself and the individual peacekeeper.
Right.
Looking at the peacekeeping operations, normally the deployment of troops takes quite a long time because of the lack of political will on the part of troop contributing countries.
Okay.
Ineffective arms embargo mechanisms. Above it all, the issue of stress. So peacekeepers are really encountering quite a number of
indeed.
challenges.
Okay, so if you put it that way, then how is it that we're making sure that our peacekeepers are properly compensated for the efforts that they make? Because from everything that you've just told me, it will take a financial toll, it will take a physical toll, it will take a mental toll, emotional, spiritual, all kinds of tolls on an individual peacekeeper, not alone a whole troop. So how is it that we're compensating our troops, our peacekeepers who are going to actually make this effort to retain world peace?
The UN has a system of compensating personnel that it engages. But all these funds come from the very countries that make up the UN. Their contributions are used in supporting peacekeeping efforts. So they have some standard amounts of money they pay to troop contributing countries for every personnel that they deploy. And we have different categories. We have civilian peacekeepers.
Yes.
We have the police. Then with the military, we have formed troops. And then we have staff officers and military observers. And there are different packages for all this category of personnel.
But do you feel that they're being compensated well enough to make their efforts justified?
My brother talked about blessed are the peacekeepers.
Yes.
And so the job is a sacrificial job.
Right.
There is no form of compensation to me will be enough because your life is at stake.
Yeah, definitely.
There is how much will you pay somebody who loses his life? We can't put a money.
We can't put an amount on it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the successes that the UN peacekeeping effort has gone through recently. Is anything that stuck out within your mind which you'd like to recognize and prove that the UN peacekeeping effort is actually worthy of praise?
Well, it is always said that success is not guaranteed because we work in a very physical and politically challenging environment. But come to think of it, you can cite Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Bosnia, Kosovo, and some of the few. And this is even consolidated by the fact that the UN peacekeeping has for some time been given the Nobel Peace Prize. So that should tell you and re-emphasize the fact that there have been some success stories. The question we always have to ask ourselves, what would the world be without peacekeeping? That is a very, very important question. So definitely there are challenges, but come to the light terms, there have been successes.
Okay, great. Tell us about what's happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have a flag raising and roof laying ceremony at the forecourt of the State House. And then on the sidelines there will be photo exhibition. So starting from 08:30 hours tomorrow, we expect that the whole country, those within Accra, especially those living in and around Osu, should come around and celebrate with our peacekeepers.
Okay. And just to add a bit to that, it's just to commemorate or pay tribute to those who have lost their lives in the line of duty, and to also appreciate men and women who are currently deployed in UN peacekeeping missions, sacrificing their lives for peace.
Okay. I like to particularly do this, especially with the people such as yourselves. We've got a national platform here where you can actually reach out to everybody that's within your particular discipline of the armed forces and security forces. What is a message that you would like to give them on a particular day like UN Day, just to ensure that they're all on the same page?
For the peacekeeper, I will say keep doing what you are been asked to do, to go to the field, and all that you are supposed to do is more of a sacrificial job than any other thing. So long as you leave your home, whatever comes after comes with a lot of inconvenience. And so if you are going to be bothered about the inconvenience that is following you, then you will not be able to carry out your job well. It's a sacrificial job you are doing as a peacekeeper. See it first as such. You are a military person, you are trained, you are supposed to behave professionally, and so go to the field and behave professionally.
Yes. Yourself?
Yeah, security, they say, is a shared responsibility, not only between the peacekeeper, but those at the receiving end as well. We leave our lovely families behind and go to these peacekeeping missions. My advice to the civilians especially is to support us spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And that way we shall all get to the same page. Thank you.
All right. I want to thank you both for coming in this morning and shedding some light on the celebrations that will take place tomorrow and the efforts that you continuously go through in keeping the peace all around the world. This has been Lieutenant Colonel Eric Agri Kwashi, Ghana Armed Forces, and ASP Henry Aisi Mensah from the Ghana Police Service. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.